Let's face it, sometimes church life can be a bit strange. As you know, I spent a lot of last week collecting orange nets, and in fact I was waiting for delivery of a fishing net, but it never turned up. And in preparation for sermons, I'm often looking at the ins and outs of shepherding, or tax collecting, or other things that I really have no experience of and don't know anything about. So what a relief this week's reading is. I'm so pleased to see salt and light, because to me these are science words, and I feel on slightly safer territory. The first metaphor that Jesus uses is to tell the people that they are the salt of the earth. If I'd heard the word salt as a scientist, I would normally associate it with its chemical properties. Three things spring to mind. Firstly, salt is essential for life. Secondly, salt has been used to preserve food for thousands of years. And three, salt is used as seasoning because it increases the intensity of all taste signals that go to the brain. This can turn a very bland dish into something delicious. For all three reasons, salt was an incredibly valuable commodity in Jesus' time. And this is in fact mirrored today when we call somebody the salt of the earth. We mean that they are worthy and reliable. As well as Jesus telling us that we are like salt, Jesus is like this wonderful substance himself. He is essential for life. He preserves us and brings out the best in us. Through mixing in with others, living by the values that Jesus taught us, and telling people the good news of the gospel, we can in turn bring out the best in others. Sometimes it can be easy to hide or forget our Christian identity when we leave church and become, as Jesus puts it, salt that has lost its taste. Because the salt of the earth has become such a well-used expression in English, I think we lose some of its meaning. Jesus is telling us to liven things up, not just for ourselves, but for all we meet. I think if we're on the condiment theme, perhaps "you are the chili sauce of the earth" is a good equivalent. I like really hot, spicy sauces where if you add just a drop of it, it changes everything. You know that that chili sauce is in there. And I think that we can be a bit like that. Jesus' hope for us is that we would have a faith that is so distinctive that one person would make all the difference to those around them. Distinctiveness doesn't mean being irritating or forcing our views on others. Distinctiveness doesn't mean that we look down on people who don't have a faith or who practice their faith differently to us. And distinctiveness is not about having a special club. After all, who wants a big pile of salt on their plate? We are meant to live well with our non-Christian brothers and sisters, and if we live as authentic Christians, people will know us as people of faith, hope, and love. The next metaphor that Jesus uses is light. You are the light of the world. As a scientist, I worked with machines that used lasers, so I had to be aware of the properties of light that were being used in order to get my results. Light interacts with objects it shines on, reflecting, casting shadows, giving colour. Light is a form of energy, but it is also energy-giving. Think of solar panels on a roof. When light hits the solar panel, it causes an electric current which can be used, which flows and can be used to make a cup of tea, power a washing machine, or anything else we use day to day. Therefore, if we are being light, it is about getting involved, interacting, changing and being changed. In terms of physics, shining light is not passive, it is active and influences its environment. Jesus tells us to shine our light before others. This is a popular message, and let your light shine is the motto of several schools, including Central Walker. I think the reason we like this phrase so much is that we all have gifts and talents, and we don't have the confidence to share them with other people. Sometimes we don't even know what qualities shine from us. Light comes in all sorts of colours, some visible to us and some not. Different wavelengths of light have different properties. We are the same. God created us in fabulous diversity to shine in all different ways for those that we meet. And just like light, we pass our energy on to others. If our kindness, love and giftedness shine out from us, we will find these qualities in others in abundance. This is especially important when we leave church every week, go out into our lives. Having confidence in our faith and in our gifts can be easier when we have others around us on the same path. The trick is to continue to shine and give light to others who aren't on the road with us yet. Jesus says, "No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." It sounds lovely, but actually, there are times when we just don't feel like shining. With the stresses of life, personal tragedy, we would quite happily hide under a bushel basket, whatever that is. Some people love the idea of shining on a lampstand in the centre of the room. Some people would prefer to flicker quietly in a corner. But I think there's a difference between having a sincere, gentle faith and a secret one. The decision for me to leave scientific research behind was hard in some ways. I loved what I did, and if things had gone differently and I'd ended up somewhere in a lab of the pharmaceutical company here this morning instead of standing with you, that probably would have been okay because I saw God's glory in my work. However, I dreaded telling my boss, a professor of immunology, that I was leaving to go to Holy Island and pursue a vocation to the priesthood. As it happened, it went really well, and he went out of his way to support me. He said, "I wish you'd told me sooner. Now everything about you makes sense." I thought that I was being professional and private, but really I was being secretive. I didn't allow other people to see what I was really about. After that, we had lots of important faith conversations, and several people from my lab have talked to me about their faiths too, and I finally got to see what makes them shine. In fact, I am not the only person from that lab who has gone to pursue a vocation in the priesthood. It's worth remembering that the light we shine and the taste we enhance aren't really our own. This rainbow of colours and variety of tastes is God-given. It isn't dependent on us feeling super confident or emotionally robust. We are salt for others when we allow others to know that Jesus is life-giving for us, preserves us and brings out the best in us. When we love those around us as we are loved, we too are life-giving, preserving, and bring out the best in others. And even when we don't feel worthy of being put on a lampstand, we shine for others because Jesus shines for us. Amen.